BRICS nations gain global attention as emerging markets. In recent years, the BRICS countries Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa have gained global attention as representatives of emerging markets and developing nations. The BRICS nations have gained increasing momentum in their development, with Brazil being one of the most significant engines of growth among the BRICS nations. Nowadays, with Brazil's return and more countries joining or considering joining the BRICS nations, they have found new impetus for development. According to reports, the two most important mechanisms established by the BRICS countries are the New Development Bank and the Contingent Reserve Arrangement. The establishment of the New Development Bank was to break free from the constraints of Western financial institutions such as the IMF and the World Bank. One significant challenge facing the BRICS nations is how to deal with the dominance of the US dollar. Currently, the BRICS countries are discussing the establishment of their own reserve currency R5 based on gold and other commodities. Republican politician Rubio recently admitted that if other countries reduce their use of the US dollar, the US will gradually lose the ability to impose sanctions on other nations. Nowadays, nearly every week there is news of agreements reached that bypass the use of the US dollar. On April 13, Brazilian President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva visited the headquarters of the New Development Bank of BRICS countries in Shanghai and attended the inauguration ceremony of Dilma Rousseff, the former Brazilian president, as the new president of the bank. In his speech, Lula questioned why all countries must settle their payments in US dollars and suggested that the NDB could use member countries' currencies for loans, freeing them from traditional restrictions imposed by developed countries. Prior to Lula's visit, China and Brazil had signed an agreement to settle trade in their own currencies. International media saw this as a sign of the beginning of de-dollarization of the world. Lula emphasized on Twitter that the establishment of the NDB is a milestone in joint action by emerging countries. Without this bank, the poorest countries will never be able to develop. During his China state visit, Lula, leading a delegation of officials, visited the headquarters of the NDB, which was his first stop. In his speech, Lula celebrated the appointment of his friend Rousseff as the new president of the NDB and raised the question of why all countries must settle payments in US dollars, suggesting that other currencies, such as the Chinese yuan, could be used as an international settlement currency. He believed that the NDB could provide loans in member countries' currencies, freeing them from traditional restrictions imposed by developed countries. Lula also criticized international financial institutions led by the United States, such as the International Monetary Fund, for attaching harsh conditions to loans to developing countries and claimed that these institutions should not stifle the economies of developing countries. The establishment of the NDB marks the first time that a globally influential development bank has been established without the participation of developed countries. It can use local currencies for project financing, providing more financing channels and greater development opportunities for developing countries. In her inauguration speech, Rousseff said that the NDB was essential to supporting developing countries in economic, social, and environmental aspects. The NDB was jointly launched by the BRICS countries in 2015 as a multilateral development bank with the aim of becoming a global multilateral development bank open to all United Nations member states. In 2021, the NDB admitted Bangladesh, Uruguay, the United Arab Emirates, and Egypt as new member countries. On the same day, Lula tweeted that the NDB was an important initiative to promote a more balanced global development and was of great significance to those who looked forward to building a new world. In conclusion, the rise of the BRICS countries has brought about significant changes in the global economy, challenging the dominance of traditional Western institutions such as the IMF and the World Bank. With the establishment of the New Development Bank and the Contingent Reserve Arrangement, the BRICS countries have shown that they are capable of creating their own financial infrastructure and breaking free from the constraints of Western financial institutions. Furthermore, the discussions around establishing their own reserve currency R5, based on gold and other commodities, could potentially shift the balance of power away from the US dollar, allowing the BRICS countries greater autonomy and freedom to pursue their own economic policies. The recent visit by former Brazilian President Lula to the headquarters of the New Development Bank in Shanghai, and the inauguration of Dilma Rousseff as the new president of the bank, is a clear indication of the importance of this institution in promoting development and economic growth in developing countries. As more countries join or consider joining the BRICS countries, the momentum for development and change will continue to grow. The establishment of the new development bank marks a significant milestone in joint action by emerging countries towards building a new world and promoting more balanced global development. It is essential that the BRICS countries continue to work together and support each other in their efforts to achieve greater economic prosperity and social progress. By doing so, they can create a more just and equitable world for all. Thanks for watching. If you found this video helpful, please consider subscribing for more content. Take care.